Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for all my continued followers, I want to say thank you. And this is an opinion-based video channel where I try to open your eyes and ears up to some of the travails and tribulations that take place throughout our cities, our states, our country, and sometimes around the world. This one I got for you is coming straight out of the state of Illinois. I think between the state of California under Governor Gavin Newsom and the state of Illinois under Governor J.B. Pritzker, those two states are falling apart each and every day with their liberal laws. The state of Illinois has the Safety Act, where a person can commit a minor crime and get out under their own recognizance. And you're seeing as a result of that, especially in the third largest city in America, Chicago, there is innumerable amounts of shoplifting, looting, gun violence, carjackings, drug trafficking. Chicago is is going morally and ethically bankrupt and financially bankrupt under Mayor Brandon Johnson each and every day. Chicago is $1.1 billion in debt. And the state of California is falling apart from Southern California, Los Angeles, all the way to Northern California, down to San Francisco and Oakland. Just look at the news outlets and the headlines that are talking about both of these states. And now we have an issue where people that have mental illness issues, that are committing crimes, instead of them being sent to a mental health facility that is governed by the state, they are just locking these people up. And of course, there's no rehabilitation. There's no psychiatric or psychological treatment that's being utilized to help these inmates. And they're just being arrested, incarcerated, and then left untreatable. And many times these individuals end up worse after they leave prison than when they went in there. And this cycle of recidivism, of going back and forth to prison, no mental health treatments or modalities that have been available, you're just seeing a cycle of reincarceration each and every time. And there's a certain level of inhumanity that is taking place in the state prisons, let alone Cook County that's in Chicago. Cook County Jail is one of the most dangerous jails in our country today. Gang violence. There's all kinds of assaults that are taking place in Cook County Jail, which is a holding place to see if you're going to end up going to prison after your court date. But there is a backup of mental health facilities that are leaving patients behind bars, and these individuals are not ending up in mental health facilities to get treatment. They're just incarcerating them and letting them rot away mentally and physically. But I got a case in particular that I want to share with you that illustrates exactly what I'm talking about. So, backed up mental health facilities leaves patients behind bars in the state of Illinois. A backup at Illinois mental health facilities is keeping some patients behind bars instead of getting mental health treatment. Miss Susan Pothast has spent the past 3 years visiting her son in an Illinois state mental health facility. Each trip to Choate Mental Health and Developmental Center ends the same way. Every 4 weeks, she says, I set up a visit, I drive to Choate, I visit my son, and every 4 weeks I cry on the way home that he's even in there to start with, Miss Susan Pothast said. Pothast's son, whose name is being withheld to protect his privacy, has autism, impulse control disorder, and the intellectual capacity of an 8-year-old. In 2022, he was charged with essay abuse. When he got there, she said we were told that he was roughly, or when he got to the facility, the administration was told that he was roughly a 32-year-old gentleman, but he had the intellect of a child roughly around 6 to 8 years old. This is what Clinton County Sheriff Dan Travos said at that point. This gentleman, Miss Pothaus' son, he was wearing a diaper. A judge remanded him to custody of the Illinois Department of Human Services, the IDHS, for care at a state mental facility, which is where he needed to be. But earlier that month, he was returned back to the Clinton County Jail for a new court proceeding. In my 28-year career, this is probably the worst I felt as being an officer, deputy, and now as the sheriff, Mr. Travos said. So the sheriff had an issue that he was very uncomfortable with this gentleman, a 32-year-old gentleman who had a charge, got convicted, but he has the intellectual capability of a 6 to 8-year-old. He needs to be in a mental health facility. So he was in one, he goes back to a court proceeding, and then they end up sending him back to jail or prison instead of a mental health facility. Sheriff Travos kept the man in solitary confinement for several days due to his special needs. Ms. Pothaus said keeping her son out of the general population is necessary for his safety. If he's just in regular population of a jail, is like his attorney told me, and she's right, he'd be a victim every single day. So he went from a mental health facility back to jail instead of staying in a mental health facility to get treatment for his various mental health issues. But there's a growing crisis in the Illinois jails where many individuals who have mental ineptness or mental deficiencies, instead of them sending them to mental health facilities, they're sending them to jail and to prison, and they're not getting any kind of medical treatment. Sheriff Travos said the case highlights a growing problem across the state of Illinois. Local jails are increasingly housing mentally ill individuals who have been found unfit for trial. So many of these individuals have been found mentally unfit for trial, and they're still sending them to jail and or prison instead of a mental health state facility. He goes on to say, we had one who was drinking out. So they said, even here's an example of an individual who was mentally incapacitated, who was mentally deficient. And he said that they even had one person who was drinking out of a toilet and thought that he was Jesus Christ. So this is definitely a person that needs to be in a mental health facility and not in just a regular jail or prison. And then Chief Travos said, what are we supposed to do? We're not trained for that. So correctional officers, prison guards, their staff, unless they're medical staff, they're not trained to deal with severely mentally incapacitated individuals. They need to be at a mental health facility. Fox 2 News has received court records that show several other examples. Now, this is in Clinton County Jail. I'm not even talking about the level of ineptness that is taking place in Cook County Jail in the heart of downtown Chicago, one of the largest county jails in the country and one of the most dangerous. He said that one man was declared unfit for trial on July 2nd and remains in jail. Earlier this month, a judge ordered the Illinois DHS secretary to appear in court to explain why the department has not complied with the directive to place the man in a treatment facility. So this guy was declared unfit, and the courts should have made an initiative to have this gentleman, since he's unfit for trial due to mental ineptness, he needed to go to a mental health facility, and instead the system, our United States judicial system, and our jail and prison system, they decide just to send this man straight to jail and or prison. This is inhumane. He was unfit for trial. It's clear as day that he needs to be navigated to a mental health facility and not just placed in jail or prison, where he would end up in a worse state, physically, mentally, than going to a mental health facility where he could get the care and the protection that he needs to try to get treatment for his mental incapabilities. Another inmate that was booked last September, and this man was declared unfit, was not released until March after a judge issued a similar order. So there was another guy that was declared unfit for trial. Instead of going to a mental health facility, they send him to jail. What's the state's response? Clinton County officials have pleaded for help. Sheriff Trevose sent a letter to Governor J.B. Pritzker and state lawmakers outlining the crisis. He said, as good as our correctional officers are, they are not trained to handle somebody of that mental capacity being in jail, and frankly, they shouldn't be in jail. The last place they should be, Sheriff Trevose said, is in jail or prison. State Rep Charlie Meyer said he has been trying to address the issue for years. So you're having in the state of Illinois, we got enough chaos and disruption taking place in our cities, in Chicago. Now you're having this same scenario in the logistics in our city and state jails in the state of Illinois, where they're redirecting mentally ill and unfit people. Instead of sending them to a mental health facility to get treatment, they're just placing them in jail and or prison with no treatment. This is one of the most inhumane actions that I can think of, and the state of Illinois and Governor Pritzker needs to do something about this.